I'm Craig Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different and every breakup is different. Work with me and you'll get professional help on your situation. And if you're in no contact, focused on personal growth, my workbook series, The Knowledge, will help you make changes like you've never made before. Available now at AskCraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And in this video, we're going to be talking to you about why does my ex keep contacting me?
So annoying.
Is it?
I'm just kidding.
Maybe if you're avoidant. If you're anxious, it's like, why aren't they contacting me enough?
Right.
More! Well, there are a lot of different types of breakups and a lot of different types of situations. And so there can be some confusion around this. It's understandable, right? Because sometimes you're in a situation where your ex is breadcrumbing you and reaching out to you often. And for mundane things that seem superficial, and they're kind of stringing you along. The situation that we see more than anything is that you're in no contact for months and you haven't heard anything from them. Okay, so in that situation, we often see what I call the indirect direct approach, where somebody contacts you directly, like they call you or they text you or they send you a meme or they send you a song or a picture at a concert or something that you went to together. Sometimes it's just small talk, but that's one type of reach out, and that's the one we see the most often, is that you haven't heard from the person in months. Now, there seems to be some confusion on what we teach. Okay? We teach people not to ignore somebody if somebody hasn't heard from them in many months. If you do, you're at risk for them feeling rejection and not reaching out again. Some people misconstrue what we say and they struggle to understand that we don't want anybody to be breadcrumbed. But we don't want you to ignore an ex, because when you do, that bid to connect could make them shut down, and then they might be too afraid to reach out again.
Right, and here we're all about mature adult conversation. Being able to talk about things directly. And so in the situation where you do get breadcrumbed, we do have other videos where we talk about this and talk about ways to manage it and set boundaries, etc. So if you're in that situation, please check those out. I think we make ourselves pretty clear in those. In this video, there are also situations where shortly after a breakup, you might be hearing from your ex a lot, or maybe it's an indirect direct, even a week after a breakup, 2 weeks after a breakup, shortly after. And it's, this constant, but not them necessarily saying, I want to repair the relationship, but just other things. And so it can be really frustrating because you're thinking, man, I want this relationship to go in a direction, but it's almost like they're not letting you, but they're still contacting you. And so we're going to talk a little bit about why that is, why that happens, whether it is, a while in no contact and then you start hearing from them a lot, or whether that's right after a breakup and, it seems like they're still not being very clear with you, but reaching out often.
Yes, and we have videos, like you said, on breadcrumbing. So if that's your situation, look at those videos. But more often than not, people don't usually hear from their ex for like 3, 4, or 5 months. That's kind of like the standard time frame in no contact. It's not 30 days. That's just ridiculous. I'm sorry, that just rarely happens. A breakup's been often building up for a long time, and so it's not going to magically go away after 30 days. They usually need time to process. 3 months is usually the minimum.
And there are other cases, though, where you do hear from your ex. It's almost like you do want them to reach out, but they're not exactly saying what you want to hear. They're saying other things, or wanting to just connect with you on a more superficial level, and it can be very confusing.
And it's awkward too, because it's like, what are we supposed to talk about? right?
And
like,
are we ignoring the big elephant in the room?
Yeah, like how are we, like, you're contacting me, but this is like pointless, meaningless conversation. It's just we're making a small bid, or there's a small bid to connect, but then it doesn't go anywhere.
Right. So the first reason as to why this happens is because you are likely their support person. Breakups are really challenging. And when people are sitting with these big negative emotions, grief, sadness, loss, confusion, sometimes they don't know what to do with themselves. And because you were that person that was most likely consistent in their life and that emotional support, they are going to you to connect in some way to feel that support. And it's in this, very obscure, not direct way, but it's still a way to connect and to hear from you.
Yep.
And there's also the other side of the attachment part. They're attached to you, and sometimes when we're in a relationship, we can have these love rituals where we're used to saying good morning to each other every day, or we're used to texting and talking every day. So once that breakup happens, it can feel very strange to not. So they might be having that natural compulsion because of the attachment to reach out to you because it feels normal. It feels right to do because they have for a long period of time. Yeah. So these things really do impact a person. You have to remember part of the consequence of breaking up is that they lose you as a support person.
Yeah.
So that's the risk that they took by ending the relationship. And it's unfair for them to end something with you and then expect you to, hold their hand through the consequence of their decision or through their grief.
Yeah. That'd be like quitting a job and expecting to get paid.
Yeah.
You quit your job, you're not getting paid anymore.
Exactly.
You quit on the relationship, you're not getting the comfort anymore. You're not getting all those things with it.
And that reaching out, it can be a way of self-soothing. They might be feeling a lot of different feelings from the breakup, as are you.
Anxious.
Yeah. And that texting you here and there, sending you a meme when they think of you, it's a way of self-soothing that loss.
Yes, it is. They try and comfort themselves knowing, they're going to reply. They're still going to reply to me.
Yeah. And a lot of people just don't know how to manage the grief.
Yeah, grief can be really overwhelming. And one of the things that Margaret always said is people do not like to grieve. And they will do all kinds of wild acting out behavior because anything is better than grieving. Grieving is very difficult to do. And, especially if you're dating somebody that's avoidant or dating somebody that's avoidant, they probably don't have a good, strong support circle. They don't have people that they are used to being able to open up to and talk with because they don't open up to many people or share how they feel. That's just the way they've always been. So they might not have those close friends. And they'll rely on you, their ex, to help them soothe their anxiety, deal with the grief, and get some comfort here and there. But you are only responsible for your own feelings. You are not responsible for making this breakup easier for the dumper and soothing them. They need to feel the consequence. This was their decision. Now, if you make it easier for them and you soothe them, then that is going to make it easier for them to move on.
Exactly. And that brings me to my next point of you being a safety net. And nobody wants to be in this position where you are basically holding your ex's hand as they go off and explore. You are not your ex's parent. You're not there and, expected to love them unconditionally.
Yeah, their secure base, right? You're not their secure base anymore.
Right. And so for some people, they want that ability to explore, to date others, and know that they can still have the option of being with you if they so choose. And many of you are giving your ex that impression that you will be there. If you constantly reach out and you're constantly, saying how sorry you are for the breakup and kind of going into these spirals and just making it very clear to them that you would do anything to have them back.
Yeah.
It puts you in a position to where somebody could take advantage of that.
Yeah, they do. They will take advantage of that. And you'll hear people say things like that they felt pathetic or that the ex saw them as being weak and pathetic. And so you don't want them to see you like that. And it's hard, but they are going to form their own opinions of you based on your behaviors.
And for someone who's ambivalent, they're going to see that, and they're not going to suddenly decide to make a clear decision. They're going to still be on the fence, and it's almost like you're enabling them to continue being on the fence if you continue that reach out. If they keep reaching out to you and the two of you are just continuing to have this small talk indefinitely, it enables them to have the best of both worlds. It's giving them that idea that they can go out and date and still have you in the background. It's not a strong position to be in.
No.
And on the darker side of things, a reason why they keep reaching out to you is because they don't respect your boundaries and they're not fully understanding how the breakup is affecting you. This is a much harder one because we would like to think of our ex as this, super loving, super empathetic person all of the time. But breakups can really bring out darker sides of people. This is something that you have to be aware of.
People can be really selfish.
And so if you're especially anxious, it might be a lot harder to manage, your ex constantly reaching out to you. You might have a harder time, and emotionally it might take a huge toll on you. And on the more dysfunctional side of things, another reason as to why they keep reaching out is because it's hard for them to empathize with you and they're not respecting your boundaries after a breakup. So many of you with a more anxious attachment style are probably very excited that your ex keeps reaching out, even if it is detrimental to your mental health. Even if you realize after every reach out that they make and your attempt to try to continue the conversation or ask them out and it's unsuccessful, then you're feeling more and more defeated. And so you have to think about yourself, how their reach outs affect you. More than likely, your ex probably doesn't know what you're going through and they're having a hard time empathizing and connecting.
Especially if they're avoidant.
Yep.
Because people that are avoidant really struggle with empathy because they've likely not gotten a lot of empathy in their childhood. That's why they became avoidant. If you get a lot of empathy and compassion and love, then you tend to become the same way yourself. So when you're looking at your situation, you kind of want to look at things as a whole and think about how they were the entire relationship. Were they empathetic with you in the relationship or compassionate about your feelings or needs or wants? Or were they selfish? Did they take accountability if they did something that hurt you when you were together? Did they apologize? Did they show you they genuinely meant it? That's a good sign if somebody did. If they're just reaching out to you and it's not going anywhere and it feels like breadcrumbs, you have to be careful because it shows that they're really being selfish. They're not thinking about what happens to you when they reach out. Or maybe they are thinking about it, but they don't care how it's impacting you. They don't care that it leaves you stuck on them for days or weeks when they do these reach outs to you. So, breadcrumbing is a different type of situation, and we have other videos that go into it specifically. It can be confusing when your ex is reaching out to you. You don't know what they want, what their motives are, why they're doing it, if it's going to go somewhere. So you have to be careful. As a matter of fact, I had a call with a girl, great girl. We've done a couple calls together. She was great. She's just very sweet, very compassionate and kind, and you could tell she's done a lot of work on herself. She's just a really good person. And so the guy that she's been seeing has shown up at a restaurant where she'll be eating 12 times.
Oh, wow.
12 times. Okay? 12 different times, and not the same restaurant. I went over the details of it to figure it out with her. Right? And I said to her, that's probably the most I've ever heard that she would post on social media where she's at, and then he would show up there. 12 times. That's a lot.
You gotta be careful out there, is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
That is a lot.
That's a lot. And I told her, I think that's probably a record.
Yeah.
Because she wasn't saying, she just posts a story of her at the restaurant, and boom, he shows up. Over and over again. So, that's breadcrumbing. But meanwhile, he's not creating anything meaningful, and he's dating other people, and she knows that he's on dating apps, and he's blocking her and unblocking her and doing all these games. And this woman is very sweet. She's got kids. She's not looking for that kind of relationship. She's looking for something more meaningful from somebody that can really be there for her and understands that she has kids. I'm not going to say how many, but...
And it's important to know when to set a boundary, when to continue that connection, and when to take the risk of, taking it further, asking your ex out, seeing if they want to meet in person. So a lot of this takes discernment, and I get it, it is confusing. I'm hoping that this video at least gave you a little bit more insight so you can try to see and compare in your situation, and if not, we're always here too.
That's right. If you want to get our help personally, you can do that on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Skype. Victoria is also available for Skype coaching.
I'm here whenever you need.
Just click on her name whenever you want to talk with her. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And we will talk with you soon.